The day I brought that car home was supposed to be quiet, just a personal milestone, nothing flashy. I'd worked 2 decades in law enforcement, kept my head down, saved carefully, and finally bought myself a new car that felt like a reward rather than a risk. Midnight blue, clean lines, nothing exotic. I parked it in my own driveway, stepped out, and just stood there for a second listening to the engine tick as it cooled. That was the moment I should have known peace never lasts when an HOA Karen lives 3 houses down. I wasn't part of the HOA. My house predated the development, grandfathered in. I paid my own dues to nobody, followed city code, kept my place clean. That had never stopped her before. She'd complained about my fence height, my trash cans, even the American flag on my porch once. But this time, the target was my car. The first note appeared under the wiper before sunrise. Neat handwriting, passive-aggressive smiley face, informing me that unapproved vehicles were not allowed to remain overnight and that she would be taking steps. I laughed it off, tore it up, and went to work. By the time I got home that evening, the laughter was gone. She was standing in my driveway. Not knocking. Not waiting. Standing right next to my car, phone in one hand, a ring of keys in the other, leaning in like she owned the place. When I asked what she was doing, she didn't even flinch. She said the HOA had authority to access vehicles for inspection and towing preparation, and that she had a master key that opened most models. She actually tried it while I was still walking toward her. That's when I told her to step away from my property. She scoffed and said if I interfered, she'd call the police. I told her to go ahead. That made her smile, the kind that thinks it's already won. She dialed 911 right there, loud enough for me to hear, reporting an aggressive man preventing HOA enforcement and possibly trespassing. She described me like I was a threat, said she feared for her safety, said I might be armed. She wasn't wrong about that last part, but not in the way she thought. I stood back, hands visible, heart steady. Years of training will do that. Neighbors started peeking through curtains. A few phones came out. She paced and pointed at my car, rehearsing her story over and over while we waited. When the patrol unit pulled up, she rushed forward, talking fast, waving her keys, demanding action. The officer listened, nodded, then turned to me and asked for my name. I gave it. His posture changed just a little. He asked for ID. I handed over my badge along with it. The look on her face is something I'll never forget. Confusion first, then denial, then a kind of panic that comes when the script flips and you're suddenly the one on the wrong side of the line. The officer addressed me as sheriff, apologized for the disturbance, and asked if I wanted to press charges for trespass and attempted vehicle tampering. She started talking over him, insisting the HOA had rights, that I couldn't be exempt, that this was an abuse of power. I told her calmly that I wasn't acting as a sheriff at all. I was acting as a homeowner protecting his property. The badge just meant I knew the law she was breaking. The officer explained it to her slowly. No HOA authority over my property. No legal right to access my vehicle. No master key exception. What she did was illegal, and the 911 call was borderline false reporting. She went quiet then. Real quiet. I didn't press charges. Not because she deserved mercy, but because I wanted the lesson to stick without the paperwork becoming her next obsession. The officer issued a formal warning, documented everything, and told her to leave immediately and never return to my property. She walked away without another word. That night, I sat in my car a little longer before going inside, thinking about how power gets twisted when people think rules make them important. That car was never the issue. Control was. And sometimes the most satisfying justice isn't punishment, it's watching someone realize the authority they relied on never belonged to them in the first place. The notes stopped after that. So did the stairs. My driveway stayed quiet. And every time I start that engine, I'm reminded that knowing where you stand, and standing there calmly, is often more powerful than any master key someone thinks they have.